For the last who knows how many years, this has been my hex bolt assortment. Now, it's emptier now, but yeah, like I'll ever need that. But this is how I've stored them. Oh, I need a bolt. Just scratch around like that, all right? For a long time, I've wanted a better solution. Not only have I wanted better storage, I've also wanted a good selection here. We are about 25 minutes, I don't know, 20 minutes from Menards. It's really not that far, and Lowe's is just as far. There really isn't a very good place to buy bolts any closer. It's not that far, but it's just hard to get there. A lot of times I'm working on a project and I find I need a bolt and I need it now. So I want to show you this. I don't know how the lighting is in here. This is my new bolt collection. So here's an example. We have in this bag some metric and some SAE or English bolts. The SAE bolts are gold plated. I don't know what color, I don't know what kind of plating they really call that off the top of my head. And then the metric ones are zinc plated. At first it seems really odd to have both SAE and metric in the same bag, and I might agree with that. In fact, in the long term, I'm not even sure that's the right way to do this, but I want to explain why I've chosen this approach. And I've actually worked with a partner to build this kit, because I think it's something that since I wanted it, you might want it. I've been eyeballing the bolt kits from all these big major manufacturers of bolts, or I don't know, resellers of bolts, whatever. Some examples, usboltkit.com, nationalboltkit.com. Well, I've just been drooling over having a selection of bolts. But they've been entirely too expensive for me, and I would think for most homeowners, most kind of do-it-yourself guys, they're too expensive. And when I say too expensive, I'm not necessarily saying too expensive per bolt for the selection that you get. I suspect it's about the most efficient way that you can possibly get bolts. But what I saw is that when you would look at, say, the 1/4 inch sizes, the small sizes in their kits, there might be 200 1/4-20 by 3/4, and another 200 1/4-20 by, ones, and I mean, maybe even 300, and then maybe 600 1/4 inch nuts. And I looked at those volumes and I said, I don't have any use for that in my whole life. There's no way I'll use that volume of 1/4 inch bolts. So while it may be the most efficient approach to be able to provide a good selection of bolts, it seems like overall it might not be the most efficient for me, being the small customer. So what I saw in their 5,000 or 7,000 piece kits, you would get a coarse threaded SAE kit that would have 5,000 or 7,000 pieces in it, and it would be in the $700 range, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And it would have either one 72-hole bin or maybe two 40-hole bins with it. And so if you wanted metrics along with that, you had to buy another set of 5,000 or 7,000 pieces to have that selection. If you wanted fine threads, you needed to buy yet another kit, right? If you wanted fine thread metrics, you needed yet another kit. If you wanted to have two different grades of bolts, grades 5, grades 8, you'd have to buy separate kits. Well, on that last one, I kind of decided that if I bought grade 8 bolts, that would be acceptable to me. And if I need an occasional soft bolt, like a shear bolt, I'll just buy those separately and understand that that's kind of a special need. So I began looking for a partner that would actually build something to my specification here. And Heavy Hitch, I was just talking to the owner of Heavy Hitch one day, and he said that's exactly what I want. So we began to craft this together. And what we're using is a single 72-hole bin. And the reason we're using one bin instead of multiple bins is because they're expensive. They're, I believe, over $200 just for the bin, right? And so that, if we start doing separate bins, not only do they take up a lot of space, that adds a lot to the price of our overall kit. And what I suggested was maybe we could put multiple bolts, multiple categories in the same bin. Now, Heavy Hitch and I have just a little bit of a difference of opinion on how that should best be laid out. I kind of think that I could handle different length bolts of the same diameter in the same bin. So 2-inch bolts, 3-inch bolts, maybe even 4-inch bolts all in the same bin, because I'm not going to have a very big quality. But Heavy Hitch took the approach that since the SAE bolts are all gold colored and the metric bolts are all zinc colored, that they would divide them that way. So each plastic bag comes from Heavy Hitch with 3/8 by 1 inch, and then this is, this is M10 by 30, put in the same bag. Now I haven't got these all out of the bag yet because I still wasn't sure how I was going to divide them up. For now, I've left them with their approach. This particular column here is empty. There are no 7/16 bolts in this kit at present. The 7/16 bolts that I have are some that have come from other projects, right? Other places. Hey, that was what brought this all up. I have these 4 extra bolts and 4 extra nuts. What do I do with them? Well, now that I have a bolt bin, I've got a spot for them, and I can find, you know, the appropriate size here and put them in there. So some of the bolts kind of become self-populating because you end up acquiring some as you install different kits, or you know, you replace things, you end up actually gaining some bolts at times. So for me, part of this bin business was just to have some organization that I can put these in. This kit just has a few bolts of each size, especially the bigger sizes. So example here is 3/4 by 3. We have, I believe, 4 of them. And the same with the N16 by 70, we have 4 of those. So my overall objective by kind of working with these guys was to be able to get essentially the same selection as 2 of the kits from these majors for about the same price. Now, I'm not going to try to hide anything. We're not getting the bolts per piece as cheaply to you as you would by buying those kits. But the idea is that for $600 or $700, I don't exactly know the price of this kit now. Again, with the supply chain issues and the prices all around, it's hard for me to ever quote any prices. But about the same price as one of those kits from those majors that I've mentioned, you can get double the selection. Not double the quantity, but double the selection. For instance, this kit is coming with English and metric, coarse thread, the hardest bolt steel, 10.9 and grade 8, and 1 72-hole bin. It also comes with stickers. I don't have them on here again because I'm still trying to debate exactly how I'm going to divide up my bolts. I know I've shared this too long, but I'm passionate about this. I think there will be some of you that will love this kit and would not have considered purchasing simply because you just didn't need all that from the majors, right? So let us know in the comments if you think this is a reasonable compromise, something that you might be interested in. It's not cheap, but the idea is that you can get just a few bolts, and then if you find that you're using a particular size, you can replace those either by getting them online in a quantity. You know, let's say you use the first 4 of these 3/4 by 3s very quickly. You could go order several pounds of 3/4 by 3 and fill up that bin so that you would have what you need in the future. I don't think you'll need that size, but you get my point. Let us know in the comments what you think. This was purely my idea, so if it was bad, just let me know. I don't care. We're just trying to help. If you do buy them from heavyhitch.com, be sure to use coupon code TTWT, just like everything else on their site. Again, I'm not trying to sell it here. I'm more just trying to solve my own problems and hopefully maybe your problem.